lost a game, but they might be able to cause some shenanigans again moving into this game number 2 as we are into the draft, having a look at this train that could have either Gen.G or KT if they're able to get through T1 tomorrow, etched onto it. Such a cute little train set. I absolutely love it. Daejeon and Wonju are like, Daejeon's kind of on the way as well. Like it's similar direction from Seoul-ish. At least I noticed the sign when I was driving over here.
Oh.
There was Daejeon on one of the signs before I pulled off to head to Wonju.
That's what you're basing all of your
absolutely
geographical understanding on.
Absolutely. Purely street signs in Korea.
Okay. Well,
So
I mean,
if you ask me about where Bangladesh is, I'm going to have no idea because I haven't seen that street sign here in Korea just yet. All right, the Nocturne going to be taken away as well as the Varus so far, and we have the Casio and the Orianna also removed. This time around, KT are going to be on the blue side as Gen.G do have first pick moving into this one. So KT choosing blue side after that.
yeah, so last draft, we obviously saw a lot of focus towards setting up the Rise with the Anivia ban. Here, though, Gen.G maintained this Jarvan ban. Obviously, generally a good ban, but Cuzz definitely a specialist on that pick. Taking away 2 of these engaged junglers, Bard was banned by KT, and it is going to be banned again by them here, denying that away from Duro. So, seeing all these junglers thinned out in this situation.
I'm intrigued about what the first pick is going to be. I don't have a strong feeling.
There is Rumble.
Rumble is a good one, and it is Kiin. But the Annie is going to be the choice here for Chovy. Has been a big one for BDD as well this season.
There was a period in like week 6-ish of the LCK where Annie first pick was pretty popular, but it hasn't been as much so. We've often seen the likes of Aurora picked into it, but for now it's going to be KT who slammed down the Rumble. There's still plenty of responses for Kiin into this. We've seen Yorick do well, Cassante, Galio.
There's a few different options that they can go for. I'm kind of feeling like Kiin might go for the Cassante route, but we'll see. As Cuzz, we'll see whether it is going to be a jungle locked in here. Could be. You could even just do Rumble Trundle. Feels pretty good. Rumble Vi, another great one. And that is going to be their choice here. At least by the looks of things. 3, 2, 1, and the Vi will be locked away. So, now Gen.G, with the ability to respond, I imagine Cassante X is what's going to be coming on through.
Yeah, expectation that they'll secure that for Kiin. And as for Canyon, there's a lot of options, honestly. Wukong, Annie Wukong is something we talk about all the time. They are just going to slam that down.
Just slam the Rakan. Just do it. Just go full Rise group, baby. Instead, it's the Ambessa. So Kiin going for a little bit more of a damage route.
Ambessa was another one of those picks that we saw early on into Rumble not doing so well, but then she got those buffs, more early damage, more healing on the ultimate, and she started to find more favor. So this is a lot of threat onto any immobile picks that KT end up taking. You already have Ezreal out the pool. It is going to be that Taliyah coming through. Yeah, so by Taliyah and the Unraveled Earth, a ton of value into this situation. Yeah. I think both teams picking up a lot of strong picks, and really I'm looking towards the bot lane as to how you're going to survive against what the enemy topside has when it comes to those 5v5s.
And 2 of the options for sort of noping out of the lane have been removed as well in the Mel and the Ziggs, the most popular of the mages to be utilized there on the bottom side. So should be an honest AD carry battle between Ruler and Aiming.
I think the priority here is going to be on these longer range AD carries. Jhin is going to have a ton of value in this situation. Caitlyn, the Ashe ends up getting banned away, so no Ashe Seraphine. But we've seen countless times, especially when you have so much damage across the composition, Jhin being able to follow up on things like the Equalize or the Annie Wukong, very powerful. And there's no one who's that tanky in this game that you're worried about playing Jhin into Sion or something like that.
Yep. And there shouldn't be any of those options either, even with Aftershock being a little bit better on this patch. And it's going to be Lulu taken away. That's going to be that first ban from Gen.G, denying both the weird Cogmore shenanigans that we saw yesterday and a sprinkling of earlier on.
Yeah, Lulu obviously offering a ton of peel, but also just able to follow up when you dive in, when those junglers dive in, being able to wild growth on top of that.
Yep.
I feel like as well, depending on the bot lane matchup, it's interesting Caitlyn's still open and available right now, which is obviously something we saw play out quite a lot in our series yesterday. especially in the bans later on. Xayah taken away, so removing some of the options in terms of safety for Ruler, and obviously Ruler, a very notoriously good Xayah player.
Yep, I seem to remember a certain 2017 where he did look pretty good on that champion. All right, one final ban here for Gen.G. Could be another support ban. Could also, I mean, the Nautilus is still up, but Gen.G can lock that one down for themselves as the Poppy is going to be taken. All right, will it just be Nautilus here for effort, or will they go for Aiming's pick first?
If I'm KT in this situation, I feel like MF or Jhin feel pretty good here. Senna just feels a bit squishy, even though obviously she can play a long range. But that can be also played in this situation. But I think a longer range AD carry makes a lot of sense. And you can pick that, and then you can obviously take kind of pick on your support and feel good about the lane you have. And it is just going to be that Jhin for aiming.
All right.
So great follow-up on the rest of the composition. And Jhin, pretty solid in lane. There's not much I feel like Gen.G can throw down here that with the support counter pick you're not able to answer for KT. And what will Gen.G go for? I think there are support options if you want to be a bit more aggressive. Like we talked about the Rakan syncing well with the composition, but also like Shen works pretty well too.
Well, that's a fun one.
On top of what they have. But they are going to go for that Senna.
All right. She's been creeping up.
Does have that long range. And also, specifically into Vi, Vi has to see you to be able to target you, and you have the Shroud to play around, so can play at a distance, and then if you see Vi coming, can pop that, and it is just looking to be Senna Nautilus coming through.
Yep, I like the Nautilus denial as well as the pickup in the lane alongside the Senna because they don't have a lot of engage out of Gen.G. Yeah, they've got Flash Tibbers, but it's not exactly all that reliable. And so Duro now having a lot of agency here in this game. Effort with the ability to answer this, though. We'll see what he is going to be picking up. For some reason, I feel like he's going to play Nico, but I don't know whether that is going to be something. We've seen Nico really fall out of favor more recently.
I think Alistair's good. I think Shen's good.
Yeah, Alistair's a very fun one.
I think those are fine.
Yep, I like this a lot more.
Rell works too. I think just picking a strong melee engager in this situation. And it looks like it will just be that Rell. So both teams, a lot of explosive power in their compositions, a longer range AD carry who will be vulnerable if connected onto. We'll have to see how these team fights are played out. I do think that the Senna, I'm interested to see if Ruler does take the Deathfire touch that we've been seeing so much in solo queue. I was checking his solo queue, and he's been running it in solo queue.
Okay.
It'll be interesting if he doesn't take it when he gets to pro play and goes for the fleet footwork, as we've seen in the LCK. But I do feel like even though KT have a lot of that engage power, still a little scary playing into how consistent we've seen the Wukong be and the Ambessa in Kiin's hand. I think a lot of this is going to come down to the Vi Taliyah getting some momentum early, and especially because Vi does have more early impact than the Wukong. If you get the ball rolling, both these compositions, so much mid-game team fighting power, whoever gets ahead, it's going to be hard to match them.
I would agree. And I find it really interesting that you're like, oh, it's all about Vi Taliyah. Well, I mean, it's always all about BDD and Cuzz. And whether or not they can get it together on the day. The early game in game number 1 was fantastic for KT. We'll see whether they can do it again. But I think this is a very different story, right? Last time, there were very different compositions. You know, very different win conditions, different ideas of how to play the game. I feel like there are so many similarities to how these compositions play out, where supports are trying to engage, trying to find those angles. We're all just trying to press our buttons together and allow our AD carries to carry in the later stages of the game, build the space for them and make it happen. And with both teams trying to do the same thing, we could have some explosive engages. Let's get into the rift for game number 2. All right, Effort going to clop away. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the rift for game number 2. They're already getting a little bit of damage towards Chovy, but Chovy delivering a bit back himself. Just battling for control of the wave right now. The Pandemonium skin there for the Annie as well.
And we do have Deathfire Touch from Ruler, so finally we get the Deathfire Touch Senna in the LCK that has been doing crazy numbers in solo queue. It's something like a 16 to 18% pick rate, similar ban rate, like a 55% win rate. It's insane right now. So a lot of damage and a lot of pressure in the lane. It was even more broken before when the Deathfire Touch was stronger, and it was physical damage, and would sync up with the Black Cleaver, but still very strong.
As Anchor is just going to find that caster minion in the back line. Really interesting that we had to move our expectations of this lane a little bit, but then move them back again now that both of these supports are playing engage. It's sort of evened out. I feel like the Jhin should once again have a fair bit of control in this lane, especially in the early levels. But Ruler is just going to infinitely scale. And we saw yesterday from Gumayusi shooting people from like off screen with an auto attack.
Yeah, it does get a bit crazy, but I think with these two compositions, even though there's obviously scaling elements like the Senna who could become a big problem later on, I think just with the explosive engage potential from KT, if you reach Ruler and he dies, it doesn't matter how much range he has.
Oh yeah.
Obviously being able to play around that huge range makes it harder to reach him, but I do think that there's options no matter what for KT unless they're extremely far behind. And a lot of it's going to come down to just execution. Who starts the fight first and leads the charge? Because both team comps, as you were saying before, play in a relatively similar way with how they want fights to start. And it is them being the initiators and picking off key targets.
Yep. I do think that KT are a little bit more single target in how they want to make things happen in the mid game around Cuzz, right, with the cease and desist. Canyon definitely a lot more about I can knock everyone into the sky and we can then deliver all of the damage that way, but there is still so much AoE.
You say that, but then Kiin and Duro are pretty single target and Perfect and Effort pretty AoE.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I feel like it balances out, yeah. It does feel very balanced.
And Effort going to be pairing with Perfect very well. Like, I do think the Wombo combo here for KT is pretty frightening. And Equalizer Curtain Call has always been something that can kill someone. Even if you're really far behind in the game, you manage to get anyone locked down, those two follow-ups will certainly be able to get enough damage done to try and capitalize from very far away. So I'm interested to see whether KT can actually once again find themselves a good early game. The problem is it's got to weigh on your mind that in the last game they were looking phenomenal early on, and then things all kind of fell apart.
Well, what I will say is
a bit of an attempt.
Going back to yesterday again, the 17th time, even though HD did win that game 1, we saw them get the early lead and then falter multiple times in that series, but they were still the team with the agency and they eventually figured it out. So I guess KT hoping that that will be their fate in this series, that yes, they did falter in game 1, but if they're the ones with the momentum, they can eventually just find a way to close the game out.
And I mean, they faltered in games 1 and 2 against D plus Kia just last weekend, and that worked out pretty well for them, based on the fact that they're here. So showing some tenacity there. We'll see whether they can show it once again here today. As Chovy, he's having a pretty good time here in this lane. BDD in a little bit of a rough spot, both of them having teleported back already.
The thing is, you're already having a rough time right now as BDD. It's not really reflected in the farm, but once level 6 is hit by the Annie, it gets so much worse because often when you're playing into Annie at level 6, it feels pretty bad. Oh, that missed.
Great yeah, actually just going to miss because otherwise the buffer would have come on through.
But as I was saying, most champions, when Annie hits level 6, are just in a rough time in lane because that happens. But Taliyah in particular doesn't really get any lane power at all from Hero.
Oh dear, Ruler going to have to flash, and he does do so to get over the Vault Breaker. Cuzz not investing his flash, understanding you can just come back and kill him next time.
Yeah, and Duro just not quite there in time. If he's in position, he can obviously disrupt the Vi, stop Cuzz from going for the dash to force Ruler's flash. But he was a little bit later than the jungle support from KT. And it does mean that KT's going to look towards the Dragon, but Canyon's in the vicinity and aiming recall. Yeah, they have to dip.
They just get out of there, crash down over the wall, as well as the Vault Breaker will allow them to escape. But now you've got Canyon deciding to go for this crab. That should be level 6 over to the Wukong as well off the back of that one, as aiming will be able to find Duro here. Effort down very, very low though, and he's still burning. All right, Canyon just going to start this up.
Yeah, smites it as well, so committing to it, getting that first smite down, and then we'll have a second one later, but definitely wants to focus it. And we'll see, will Cuzz try and steal it? It's in the area, but it looks like the answer is no.
Yeah, they did lose mid-control just for a moment there. Thought that maybe KT were going to go for something, but it looks like that is not going to be the angle. Aiming is lurking, so he can maybe find a little bit of a Deadly Flourish. Attempted steal, but decides not to go for it.
We have Cloud Infernals the first 2 dragons
We
last game?
did. So now it might be Ocean, or we might get Earth, Wind, and Fire done right.
You're always hoping for that.
Every time. Every single time. All right, Duro going to be able to find a little bit of an anchor towards effort here. Does throw back a bit of damage himself, but otherwise it's just Mortal Kombat. No one really doing too much work. And things slow down. It is a very even game state, though, in this early game.
Yeah.
I think that both of us are kind of expecting like mid-game to be where the action sort of starts.
Ultimate's coming in, obviously adjust things a bit. We saw Chovy getting some more pressure mid on the back of that, but top lane Kiin as well was having a bit of a rough time in lane. But the spike you get from your ult making a big difference. But now, though, they're looking to collapse onto him. There's no TP from Chovy. No one's near. He might just be dead.
Yeah, Cease and Desist is available. There is the Weaver's Wall. The ultimate does manage to buy a lot of space, but they just get back on top of him. Kiin should be able to take down Cuzz here, though. Oh, there it is, the 1-for-1. And it's a disaster for KT as Chovy moving up towards that top side as well. BDD in a bit of trouble. But Chovy spotted on that ward. BDD is going to be able to make it out safely.
Kiin played that beautifully and almost actually got 2 kills out of that. BDD was so low as well. The ult to buffer the CC was just flawless from Kiin, and you could see KT were kind of rushing into that, didn't want to get counterplayed. They had more time, I think, but obviously we have the luxury of being able to see the whole mini-map. And in the end, Kiin trading 1-for-1 feels fantastic, given how that play started.
Yeah, and now sitting on a 160 gold lead as well, as the Rumble did not manage to pick up the kills. So we're going to have a look at this from Kiin's perspective.
So the big thing is buffering the ult from the Vi just means all the follow-up is missing. Like the equalizer, everything was over there where his original position was. All that damage missing means he's able to survive long enough to take out Cuzz. So Kiin landing that ultimate as well. It's not just the fact that he buffered the ult, but the fact he lands it so he can move away from where they were trying to target him down makes all the difference.
Beautifully played. And what he said there was, "Find no flash." And he did indeed flash and then died. Ruler now going to slink into the mist as the Shattering Strike is going to be able to stun him up. The rest of Gen.G, though, just going to get pushed away from this bottom side. And KT now with a slight gold advantage, largely due to aiming being a bit further ahead than this Senna. That is kind of what we expect in this bottom lane, as you stated earlier, Aux. So everything kind of going to plan here for both teams.
You have the early Dirk coming out from aiming. He's going to likely be going towards that Ghost Blade. And it does mean that you're a little bit later on your item spikes when you go towards that. Particularly getting like LDR and IE together. You see Perfect getting some good lane pressure here onto Kiin right now.
Yeah, the burn earn value starting to stack up. Looking for that Leandri's as item number 1 as Duro. Whether he does commit anything to this, decides not to. BDD just going to be pushed away from Chovy though.
Wheeler still has no flash.
Effort. Oh dear. There is the revisit, and down will go Ruler. It's a decent cleanse, but he is not going to live. Sometimes you just like to press R before you die.
Yeah, I think the cleanse was kind of pointless. I'm going to be honest. You were just beyond dead as soon as they showed up.
It's pretty handy that you can just like channel the ultimate, and if it doesn't go off, then you get the cooldown refund.
Yeah, otherwise
so you may as well party with that one.
That would be. I mean, to be honest, I think even if it'd gone off, he's probably just dead and it's just wasted.
Yeah, no, he's probably glad that they killed him in time.
Yeah. So good gank again by KT, able to capitalize on that window where his flash just isn't quite available. They knew that Duro had shown up in the mid lane. And here, the CC layering's really good. That knockoff from Effort as well, knocking him just a little bit away from the turret. It wasn't the hardest play to pull off, but I think they just did everything right in that situation.
Yep, and that means 1,000 gold the lead here for KT. 3 grubs, though, over to Gen.G. They do have the first Drake. Next one coming up in 45 seconds. So it's a bit more of a neutral objective game for Gen.G this time around. Last time, KT kind of had a monopoly on that one, even though it was 2 grubs in favor of Gen.G. This time, though, it's 3, and that feels pretty nice. As now KT are closing in on Duro. This time, though, he's not playing Karma. He is a little tankier with his Aftershock.
So notably, aiming has the Ghost Blade completed, and Ruler's yet to finish his first item. So missing out on that spike currently. Both junglers with item completions, though.
Yeah. Sundered Sky into the Trinity Force. We're looking for an angle here towards BDD, though, is now going to get the flash out.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chovy just didn't quite have the stun ready in time. Otherwise, I think BDD is just dead. But the flash is still an easy pickup for very little in terms of resources expended.
Yep, teleport back to the top lane here for Kiin. as Perfect just teleported himself. So a 4v4 if they are going to fight for this dragon. It looks like Cuzz might be thinking about it as they do move themselves over.
I think Gen.G feel happy about that because the Rumble Equalizer has so much impact in these early fights, and Kiin still yet to complete his first item. We know that first item spike on the Ambessa, very significant. So they will end up picking the second dragon up, and Max.
It happened!
It happened.
We did it! Thank you so much. And Aux, this is a lot to do with you as well, right? No Chemtech, either game. It was available, and we just shunned it. We got Earth, Wind, and Fire. We're going to groove tonight. That's absolutely what we're going to do. It's not September yet, so we're going to take that one off the playlist. There are plenty of other options. That band is great.
Yep.
It's all right. Effort now getting some vision down in this mid lane. And we've got aiming in the top side this time around, trying to grab some plates up there. As there is the crash down, flash out from Duro, but he immediately gets encountered by Cuzz, who is able to throw him towards the sky. There's the blast cone, but Effort gets into position. Dawning Shadow to try and keep Duro alive. He's still alive as the curtains were called. He's finally taken out, but it's just support for support.
I think they could have done a better job of blocking those Jhin bullets, if I'm going to be honest. Canyon.
I don't know, Duro did a great job.
Canyon just kind of letting his support die. But they do trade 1-for-1, which, all things considered, with how it started, I think Gen.G not too upset about it, although they are down Duro's flash. Canyon does dodge away from the deadly flourish there.
Yeah, nice little sidestep. Able to Warrior Trickster towards his Krugs. That is where he's going. I feel like Perfect has had a lot of control in this lane, but I'm not really seeing it represented in the farm or the money or anything like that as far as this top lane battle is concerned. Let's have a look at this one, though.
So this looks a little silly from Duro, but the thing is they've been fighting constantly and nothing's happened, and then this is the one time where the enemy team's there. In this situation, though, Canyon got stunned there, and his clone wasn't quite blocking, so I guess I give him a pass on that one. Not quite like the Effort betrayal from the previous game.
No, not quite there yet. As Chovy just going to be clearing out some minions. He's had a relatively quiet one, but when Chovy has a quiet game, he generally goes up about 20 CS, and that's precisely what's happened here. And so the Annie feeling pretty strong, although not running away with the game just yet. Does have his dash cannon, though. Feels very, very good.
I mean, the significant thing is aiming is really far ahead in the bot lane, having picked up his second kill. And Jhin, ahead of the curve, feels so much better than a Jhin who is just even in parity with items compared to a Senna, for example.
Well, that is the example in this game.
Wow, that worked out very well.
Yeah, in your favor. So I think we can certainly see that the value for the Jhin is a little bit higher. This stage, I'm trying my very best to stay impartial as Kiin, perfect execution going to get flashed there by Perfect. And by perfect execution, I mean public execution.
Yeah, it would have been a perfect execution if you got hit by it.
Yeah, and could have been Akali. And hitting Akali's ultimate is a little bit of a different story. You dash anyway. That's all right, KT. Now looking to close in on Chovy here. Effort going to be moving on over. There's the Magna Storm to hold him in position. And he needs to get out of the way of the Seismic Shove. He does manage to pass that test, but now the curtains have been called. Oh my goodness. Dodges the last one though. We just need an auto from B2D and they do manage to take him down. Just not quite enough able to rely on the turret.
Yeah, Chovy trying everything he can there, using Tibbers at the end to block the rocks from BDD, but he just throws on with his hand.
Yeah.
That's enough to take him down.
A tough one, as we're going to have a look at this matchup between our top laners in this bottom lane. We don't quite have the Leandri's done for Perfect. He's going to feel a lot better when that comes in, but Kiin very close to the Eclipse. He's also very, very powerful. Blackfire Torch now just done for BDD as we have a look at this play one more time.
Yeah, so starts moving backwards, expecting the dive, and then BDD goes in with the ultimate, flashes away from the Deadly Flourish because he knows a Seismic Shove is guaranteed afterwards, but then he's in this uncomfortable position. There's not really any way he can get out. And yeah, moves Tibbers in front and just gets an auto to the head is enough. Now, Canyon looking for Perfect here.
Okay.
With no flash, this should be an easy dive.
Yep, Equalizer is going to come down, so they will at least be able to have Perfect deal with the wave. Flash out from Kiin to make sure that he doesn't die. As now he got a crash down from Effort to get over to a Blast Cone, and then to get pulled back by Duro and probably killed. There's a great Seismic Shove, though, as BDD comes over to save the day. And Deadly Flourish connects onto Chovy. It's a fair bit of damage there, is now aiming. Wants to have another one of those Deadly Flourishes, but doesn't quite have it back up just yet. And KT will now just move over towards this mid lane.
Aiming, not having ult there, is really what allowed Gen.G just to limp away on the back of that play. Did look like they were going to overcommit a bit onto Effort. Now looking for BDD. BDD has flash.
Well, the Tibbers is going to come down from the sky, and the Anchor is not going to steal the kill. That's going to go over to Chovy. So they're going to trade BDD for mid-outer turret.
I think BDD just has to flash their away defensively. The Tibbers was very telegraphed by Chovy. It's not like he's flash Tibbersing you. He just ran at you. And the late flash was a little bit ambitious there. KT still managed to get that mid tower though, so they at least get something for that they can be happy about. But BDD being down, flash, and dying anyway does not feel so good.
Now, soul point available for Gen.G if they would like to get over towards this dragon. I imagine this one is one that KT are going to fight for.
Yeah, BDD is going to be late though. No TP, and I mean, he has the Weaver's Wall to get there quicker.
They have been able to control this area quite nicely though. Control vision is now in the banana brush. They've got captive audience, things like that.
Not interesting. I think the ult economy not in their favor with Cyclone down, public execution down, Tibbers and Death Charge. That just is enough for them to say, we don't need this dragon. We can give it up. We can play for top instead.
Exactly what they're going to do. So first one for KT on the board as BDD might be targeted once again. And yeah, Canyon comes in, finds that Cyclone. As soon as it comes off cooldown, he's using it again to grab that kill. And so that is now 2 deaths for BDD in quick succession.
Yeah, punished there. And I mean, you have to go back to the previous play when he burnt his flash when he was kind of dead anyway. Easy to capitalize on him when he still doesn't have that summoner available. Now though, TP coming in from Chovy.
All right.
And Perfect just walks away.
The walk away from the teleport angle.
Yeah. That's very complicated, but pulls it off effectively.
Yeah. The whole clicking up, I just never would have thought of it. All right, Kiin not going to be breaking that crystalline overgrowth just yet. Wants to deny as many minions as possible. And will finally take it down with only one left. Clears out the wave. So this Ambessa going to move to a 1.2k gold advantage. Yeah, and you can see the CS numbers aren't crazy, but with the kill, the assists, and all of that turret money, he's feeling very good on this Ambessa.
Kiin and Canyon are really strong, both of them. Especially when Canyon gets his second item, such a big spike for the Wukong ult.
Oh dear, this is just trading mid laners over and over again. Crash down from Effort is going to connect, and BDD is going to get some revenge as Tib is also taken out.
I'm going to say it. This is normally the top laner's fate. So yeah. Kiin and Perfect are kind of happy seeing it not be them. That being said...
Yeah, Kiin is going to, I guess, feel jealous. I don't know. As he is going to potentially have a little bit to deal with himself, but he just holds onto the wave, and he will be all right.
Yeah, without the Vial, and also being that Kiin is pretty tanky, pretty hard to deal with, they don't end up messing with Gen.G's top laner in that situation.
Ambessa is getting strong. The Eclipse spike, man, it is just kind of crazy. 5 seconds on Chovy. He'll be back up again. No teleport, but he can run real fast. Didn't go for the Swifties this time. I feel like we've seen a lot of Swifties, Annie, this time around going for a little bit more of the damage vibe, which I don't mind. It's just a little bit of a change. We know that Chovy does really like having a bit of added movement speed.
And the dash.
And the dash. Well, I mean, obviously he's going to play dash.
Yeah.
That's
mandatory at this point.
Yes.
Second item completed there for Canyon with the Sundered Sky, so he feels pretty strong right now. The
Chovy, all the information.
Really solid, and yeah, Chovy will just be able to back away from this one. Dangerous game to be a mid laner, so I think both of them being a little bit more wary. I said being a little bit more wary.
Okay, well, Chovy is going to get discovered by Cuzz, but Cuzz not going to go underneath the turret this time around. Now just going to come on over. Does manage to get the smite down onto Chovy. Cease and desist is up in 3 seconds time as Effort is going to move in as well. All right, how do we magic our way out of this one is you don't. That's the answer, as he is just eliminated by aiming.
This just feels more personal. I think after game 1 and what he did in the ML, justified. But it's not exactly a good trade in this situation where Gen.G are going to take this tier 2 inner.
And the outer and mid is so close to going down.
Yeah.
I'm going to say probably not worth, as KT did have a lead, and now they do not. This is going to help pull it back, but I think it'll be about 1,000 gold in Gen.G's favor regardless.
I think just so... Oh, TP coming in.
All right.
Kind of get in range of the Wukong.
Decent assist. Does manage to find him here as the Weaver's Wall comes on through. There's a public execution, though, as they're looking to try and get on top of Canyon, but he makes his way out to relative safety. Cuzz's health bar is now too low, and the rest of KT, I think they're going to have to back away. Flash out from Perfect. No equalizer, and Kiin is going to back away and let them live. Looks like Baron not going to be on the cards. It's only 21 minutes into the game, but man, there's so much jostling for position. I can't believe no one died.
Yeah, I mean, they were looking for it. KT just gunning after Canyon, thinking if they get this jungle kill, they could maybe just go for the Baron. but in the end, not able to take him down. Kiin such a massive threat at this point of the game, and they have to respect the turnaround potential. Level 15 for Kiin right now is very scary. Second item completed. And with Dragon in 45 seconds, this is a major point of the game.
Yeah. Well, as far as ultimates are concerned, cease and desist is quite a ways away. There is a curtain call and a magnet storm, which could be important for KT, but on the other side, it's just Tibbers and a depth charge. So Gen.G also a little bit worse for wear as far as that is concerned. Great buffer, but now going to get tagged, and Duro gonna have to flash to get out of the way. That last shot blocked by Kiin, and Duro gonna get barbecued by Perfect in the end. Did have to invest the equalizer for it though, as now Canyon could be in a little bit of trouble. Cuzz trying to move himself out of the way as Chovy realizing that he has to teleport to get out of this one, and will be able to do that. So just a pick, but a lot invested in order to get it.
Yeah, I think Gen.G can fight this 4v5. With the fact that the equalizer and the curtain calls down, it's a lot of power budget unavailable. I think there's still a chance they can take this.
Well, let's see whether they go for it. You can see them lurking in the area as Jonas Strong does try and keep us on our toes. Canyon gets in there, Effort with the Shattering Strike. This is going to be a 50-50 most likely, but there's cease and desist, and Ruler doing so much damage with that Dawning Shadow. There is the steal from Canyon, and Cuzz goes down as well. It's a disaster for KT, as, yeah, the Golden Flamethrower is also going to be removed. It's a double for Chovy. And you were right, Aux. Yeah, I think they could have taken that 4v5.
I'm glad they could prove me right. Canyon goes into the pit, and the focus ends up being on him to try and stop the smite, but he just ults, causes so much disruption. The rest of the team are free hitting in this situation. This one from Duro, he's trying to play around the banana brush, and there was a lot of that last game from Chovy. I think KT got a little sick of it. This was a great block from Kiin, and this is significant because this essentially forces the equalizer.
Yeah.
So, even though Duro goes down, you force another big budget ultimate, and then in this fight, so much focus is on Canyon to try and deny him access, but we get the Wukong Annie combo just melting Effort and Cuzz here, and then Ruler, he's just moving forward and just free hitting in this situation. Kiin is just such a monster, so hard to deal with. And not only are they not able to prevent the smite, but they also just hard lose the fight.
Yeah, and yeah, move and shoot. That's all Ruler was doing. Kind of untouched. Good sidestep on the last seismic shove, but that was the first time that he was in any sort of danger or under any sort of fire from KT. And KT do need to deal with this Senna as this game goes on. She's going to become more and more of a problem already with 2 items completed. As Cuzz looking for Duro once again. Cease and desist on to Ruler though, as I think they have done their homework, but the bear is going to come down from the sky. And Cuzz able to get himself out of the way just now as Canyon moving on in. Dawning Shadow avoided there by the Vi. And Effort able to crash his way out of there. Man, the fancy footwork here from KT. Kind of working on the seismic shove, pulls him back. And Kiin going to have to try and commit to this. They do manage to take down Effort, but now the depth charge onto Perfect comes in. And the curtains have been called. The decoy going to block a lot of bullets, but Gen.G will be able to walk their way out. And it's a 1-for-1 in the end.
Yeah, but losing Kiin definitely does not feel good in this situation, and just not a great played fight from Gen.G. So this is a mistake from Ruler, because he actually pops his Shroud, and then he can't actually be ulted by Cuzz, but he starts attacking. And that gives Cuzz vision to ult him, so he has to flash over the wall. He should have just walked away. Duro would have been fine for a little bit longer. And then the ensuing fight, they try to chase them down, but this seismic shove that comes in after, so first they get the root, and then BDD dashing in to get that flick. So nice, and Kiin, still very scary, does manage to trade 1-for-1, but it's a lot less gold from killing Effort. And now you're seeing a situation where Ruler doesn't have flash, so he's a much more viable target going into the next fight.
And aiming as well, Mortal Reminder is completed. And he's getting closer and closer to Infinity Edge as item number 4.
Yeah, didn't go for the Storm Razor third, so just wants to get that Armor Pen and IE online, as we know Jhin really benefits from those items being completed.
Yep, I respect it. 4-0-2 on this Jhin. So he is definitely what KT are going to be relying on here. Gen.G with that soul point though, 1.5 on this next dragon. Mountain Soul will make the Jin's life a living hell, trying to get through all of these shields over and over again. And KT, it's not like they have a lot of, tank busting necessarily. There is a Mortal Reminder obviously still there, but Jhin is not known for being able to kill the bulkier targets, and everyone's going to kind of be a bulky target here for Gen.G if they do manage to lock down that Mountain Soul. still. Only about 2,500 gold, the advantage here for Gen.G. This is certainly the closest one we've had so far today out of the 2 games that we have had. 4 turrets to 3, some standing gold there for KT, I guess you could say.
Closest of 2 is not impressive.
It's not. It's a 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah.
One will be closer than the other.
But you're not inaccurate, so that's
there
the
you go.
main thing.
That's the kind of stats that I'm into. Just give me the obvious, and I'll say it.
So you can see KT getting control of the area, which is really big, considering Canyon no flash, Ruler no flash. They have to push forward to contest this. Trying to clear out this vision that Effort's getting down. He's now out of wards completely. So wanting to get a recall in, but it's a little bit late. Not sure you're going to have time for that. And that means that every ward Gen.G clears out here can't be replaced. So really makes it awkward for KT. They give up control of the area. The sweeper's going to find another one. And suddenly, KT just have no vision of the area.
It's very dark right now.
You get the recall coming in from Effort, fully stocked on those regular wards. Doesn't get a control ward though. I think you could have sold as refillable and got a control ward, if I'm being honest there.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Control wards, very cheap when you have the support quest completed.
Exactly. Effort is now moving towards Kiin, looking for a bit of an angle here as he doesn't find the Shattering Strike. There's the crash down as Public Execution not going to connect. Cuzz trying to get himself out of there, but Canyon finds the backline. Aiming is just going to get executed by the Dawning Shadow. Decent flick there from PDD, but they've missed out on so much of their damage now. As KT, I mean, the Equalizer did absolutely nothing, and now the Piercing Darkness from Ruler will be able to keep everyone safe. Gen.G just moving forward like a freight train.
Getting control of the area, just to deny any chances of Cuzz moving in and stealing this one. Duro's playing Bouncer, as is Kiin.
All right.
And this could just be sold for Gen.G.
It should be. And this is, it feels so methodical from Gen.G today. You know, this feels like last year where they were just kind of winning everything forever and there just wasn't a whole lot of doubt. That's what Gen.G kind of making me feel like now. The last game, a little bit of a different story. This one, slow moving, but definitely dominating.
So they're trying to go aggressive on Kiin, but it's kind of half-hearted, and Canyon finds beautiful flank behind, aiming, ends up flashing in a straight line and is still caught out by Duro, and immediately the fight is over. You've lost your Jhin, who you want to be sitting back at max range. It was just a beautiful flank angle from Canyon there. And I am going to say something. I criticized the lack of control ward before. I think it's a bug with the overlay.
Oh, okay.
No way. Both supports don't have control wards now. So
and there's also a control ward in his inventory, and it would be in the
yeah, I apologize for any slander towards Effort. I'm sure he had a control ward when he recalled.
Yep.
Apologies for that from me.
I was a bit confused as well.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to say anything because I just didn't. I also didn't know whether the overlay was okay. All right. We do now have Gen.G positioned around the Baron. And I'm just getting so frightened for what Ruler's going to be capable of as this game continues. He's now got another Zeal for 3.5 items that he's put together.
Yeah, once he gets Rapid Fire, it just becomes obnoxious. You can just harass people from such a long distance away, close in on 80 stacks.
Yeah.
This is the point where really it starts to become significant. And a big difference between this current Senna and the Fasting Senna we used to see is you get levels, you get gold. I think one of the issues I often had with teams playing Fasting Senna is they would struggle to find that transition point where you actually start farming and stop fasting. It's but with just farming in this situation, Ruler is very strong, approaching on level 16, and KT trying to threaten here and approach this Baron, but
well, could be dangerous. Perfect has a decent angle for the Equalizer as well as they get a nice flick back onto Duro. Public Execution going to be avoided.
Oh, if it was the old one, that would have connected, but it's a lot slower now after the nerfs. So Gen.G start the Baron back away, trying to find and engage and aren't successful with it. KT.
Get them off it. It is kind of frustrating though for KT, right? Because now Gen.G are out of combat for a couple of seconds and then they get a big old shield back again.
Yeah.
It feels like all of that work that KT did to try and soften up Duro is kind of doing nothing at all. Infinity Edge finally completed here for aiming though. He does do damage now.
I mean, considering how bursty these compositions are, the Mountain Shield does go a long way, especially to Rilla, who is so squishy. IE has just come in for aiming though, which is a big spike. So he's going to feel very strong on the back of that. But I think Ruler should have Rapid Fire done. If not on his next recall, very close. I think he's probably waiting to have enough gold to recall.
Yeah, he's on red buff right now, so probably will just be taking that and heading on over there, unless he needs to kill a popcorn chicken or a minion wave in order to get that little bit of extra money. That's all right, a little bit of a stunned effort, but he's able to walk his way out. Too much of an issue there. All right, and here's that moment. Aux, that rapid fire cannon is going to be put together, and so 4 items equalizing that of the Jhin onto Ruler.
And I think this feels good on the Senna because suddenly you can actually put down your damage without being in engage range, particularly off like a flash ult from Cuzz. I mean, a flash ult would catch you, but you're far enough away that you can flash out and he's just miles away from everything.
Yeah.
But just an ult. Cuzz can't just ult you as soon as you start autoing him. You have enough range with the rapid fire.
Oh dear. Canyon is going to get flicked back. BDD able to dash cannon, but doesn't have an inner turret here. He's just able to run fast enough, was about to get on his surfboard, so everything is all right. But still, bit of a jump scare there for BDD.
A little bit spooky at this point in the game as well. You can see Gen.G fully setting up around this Baron. They don't want to make it come down to an Elder flip. Would rather set up this objective. With Ruler's range as well, so hard for KT to step up.
No Cyclone now, though, as that was used on BDD for not a whole lot of gain. Might be a bit of an angle, and KT, I think they think so too. Teleport comes in from BDD. Duro off to the side. Canyon with his Guardian Angel. Still up and at the ready. Gen.G looking for it here. As Cuzz can always pull the trigger. BDD is the target they're looking for. The anchor goes wide, though. Deadly Flourish connects onto Duro. Is now perfect, just throwing harpoons around, and Duro gets punched by Cuzz. Equalizer, and Duro just walks up the whole way. Curtain call.
All the tippers!
As max range, but it's a massive bear from the sky from Chovy. And it's now Kiin able to dash around the battlefield. Cuzz is wiped out. And it's only the bottom lane left for KT.
So much of the focus from KT was on this Nautilus, they lost track of the small gill with the bear. And Chovy just comes in and gets a humongous ult. Devastating all of KT. We can see how trying to find an engage on a BDD is unsuccessful. But they move forward and they kind of just beeline in. And look at this clump that ends up coming round to the top side. It's Kiin who starts with the ult, and the follow-up from Chovy is massive. The triple stun instantly ends the fight. That was beautiful from Gen.G. Kiin and Chovy working in perfect unison there.
Not to mention Ruler there as well. Always able to offer that damage over the top. So really nicely done. Great wombo combo, but KT now taking naps as far as the top side of the map is concerned. 30 seconds until this Elder Drake.
What's crazy there is that all the top side of KT had fun.
Oh no! Cyclone comes down yet again. Effort knows that he has to invest everything just to keep himself safe. And that's a decent Shattering Strike, but another Cyclone does come in. And now the rest of Gen.G are closing. Effort will be able to get himself out of there relatively safely, but look at how far they've been pushed away from this Elder Pit.
Yeah, pushes them away, and even though you burn the Cyclone, it also burns Effort's Flash and Ultimate, which are big team fighting tools as well. So you're feeling great about this, continuing this siege. And the Senna with the Rapid Fire is a monster in these siege setups. The Static Shiv as well, very annoying to deal with.
Yep, you can see aiming, just walking incredibly slowly. Trying to escape all of this as Effort now at least has his health bar back. Chovy, oh my goodness, that stasis was absolutely absurd. Dash cannons to get himself out of the way. Dawning Shadow is going to be there as now Effort very, very low. As Gen.G just settle back in to another siege scenario.
And Cuzz doesn't ult, but he's now got no flash, so it's going to be hard to find a window. Ruler playing pretty aggressive.
Oh, has to flash.
That was
something for KT.
One. They're going to move back towards the Elder. KT, you have to rush in if they want to be able to contest this. I mean, it's only Canyon for now, so it's going slowly. But they have to make some headway quickly.
Oh, well, the rest of Gen.G are still going to be here. The public execution right into the back line just manages to skewer aiming, and Kiin is able to lock him down in the end as well. Perfect now trying to get something done. Goes gold in the last moment, but does nothing at all as far as damage. And now Chovy looking to try and prove it against BDD once again. This is going to be the inhibitor turret going down, and this should be the end of the game and match point already for Gen.G.
Gen.G end up crushing KT there. They try and approach to contest the Elder, but they get decimated. Kiin and Chovy absolutely on fire in this game, and BDD, last one alive on the Nexus, will stay alive, but the Nexus will not.
And man, the last game was KT off to a great start. This game really felt like Gen.G had all of the cards the entirety of the time.